All right, Nick. So you've distinguished three basic meta concepts that have influenced humanity: the Western Christian, Judeo-Christian conception of God, the Eastern Hindu conception of God, and the scientific worldview. And you were saying that we can't really mix these together; that they're kind of mutually exclusive, which I'm not so sure I agree with, because as far as the scientific view goes, there are plenty of um, believing scientists who believe in some version of the Christian conception of God. Um, Science is not inherently atheistic. Um, in fact, I think without Christianity, we wouldn't have science. The very idea that the mind of man can conceive of the objective truth and have knowledge of the world is a fundamentally Christian idea. That, God created nature, God created the mind of man, and God created the mind of man such that it could see behind nature and reveal the hidden laws of God's mind, or of God's architecture. Um, and that's kind of an assumption that we can't prove empirically. We can't prove empirically that the world is rational. We can prove that our measurements of the world are rational, that our grid work makes sense and is logical, but our non-linguistic experience of the world, it doesn't make any sense. It only makes sense after we start talking about it and intellectualizing it into some form of categorization, some form of mathematical measurement, etc. And so that's what science does. It imposes its language on the world, and the only real reason we have to believe that that language is revealing the truth to us is because, well, it says so in the Bible, or theologians have interpreted the Bible as proving that is possible. Um, but putting that aside for a moment, I wanted to try to distinguish maybe four basic meta concepts. When we talk about the Western God, Judeo-Christian religion, the meta concept there is what Alan Watts called a ceramic model of existence, where basically there's this dead, inert substance called matter, and this intelligent breath of God, or form, that God inserts into that dead substance to give it life, um, which is, basically the story of Genesis. Then the same basic story was sort of adopted by science. Um, we call it the mechanistic metaconcept. But the difference between the mechanistic and the ceramic is that the mechanistic doesn't really require that there be this intelligent spirit um, inserted into the dead substance or matter. The dead substance or matter of itself just blindly, stupidly fell into place and produced, life and poetry and everything that exists. It is just sort of a blind mechanism that clicks away and churns away like gear work, and somehow accidentally produced what we see and experience today. Um, and both of these, the organic and the mechanistic, are very Western concepts. When you go to the East, into China and India, you get, in China, you get this organic meta concept. You get Taoism, and to a certain extent, Buddhism is sort of molded in this view that the universe isn't made by anybody. It doesn't make itself either. It grows itself, and everything is related in this one flowing pattern of organic development. Nothing is separate. Everything is interconnected, so on and so forth. The Indian model, as you described, is the dramatic model that we are God experiencing itself in an illusory state of separateness. And, you're right in general that we don't really want to conflate these meta concepts, because then we really have a difficult time making sense. But you can see, if we just stick to the Western meta concepts, the ceramic and the mechanic model, that they're related. The mechanic model derives most of its support from the ceramic model, in that there is still a bit of intelligence in the universe, but it's only human intelligence, and human beings are the one island of intelligent mind or consciousness that the universe was able to somehow accidentally produce. And we, the human being, we inform the dead, stupid matter of what it really is. And so, is it that different from the ceramic model? Well, not really. It's just pulled God down from heaven and stuck it in here and said it's the scientific observer that is now intelligent and that breathes life into the stupid matter by explaining it. So, slight variation, but I think that these two are related. In other words, that the Christian or Judeo-Christian Western meta-concept of God is very closely connected to this modern Western notion of science. And you don't want to conflate the two, but you can see they have, the scientific view has inherited much from the religious view, I think. And you'll have to tell me if you disagree or not.